bigger reaction when the Vikings signed Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray is a dramatic improvement over what we watched in Minnesota last season.
The organization made a decision that they feel is going to improve the depth and the quality of the room.
There's a reason Kyler Murray's there.
Kyler's a playmaker.
His ability to play efficient football.
My confidence is unshakable. You won't see me go.
Who's going to be that last man standing?
He sits on one side, I sit on the other side, and it's a coach's responsibility to teach us and coach us.
Now that I am here,
all I'm going to do is focus on what I can control.
We love an off-season storyline. Welcome into NFL Live. Molly McGrath here with Kevin Clark in studio. Mina Kimes, Bill Barnwell also joining us. And as you saw, the open competition at quarterback in Minnesota continues. And you know what they say, if you have two quarterbacks, then that means you have none. Last season, J.J. McCarthy's performance was marked by inconsistency, so Minnesota overhauled the position, adding veteran Kyler Murray to the mix, among others. And Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell hoping this open competition makes their QB1 clear. O'Connell went on the Dan Patrick Show and talked about their quarterback situation.
Kyler has come in and done a great job. JJ, I think, has benefited from it. He had a really good spring. Carson Wentz is this veteran quarterback in the room that, as a guy who's played 7 or 8 quarterbacks in 4 years, the 2 years we had our starter, play the whole season, we won 13 and 14 games. So we want to try to get back to the standard of having the quarterback position be a driving force behind us winning by doing their job, by hopefully activating the great players they get to play with.
So it's been an every other year thing at quarterback for Kevin O'Connell since becoming the Vikings head coach. Minnesota had just one starting QB in 2022 and 24. Cousins and Darnold won 13 and 14 games, but things unraveled a bit between that. 3 different starters last year went a combined 9 and 8. That's just not going to cut it. So, Mina, which quarterback do you believe has a better chance of meeting the expectations O'Connell has for the position?
Yeah, if anyone was paying attention to the sounds we were playing at the beginning of the show, you might have heard me say dramatic improvement in Kyler Murray over J.J. McCarthy. So I kind of gave that one away, Molly. But, for me, it's not just about the quarterback. It's about the entire team. Justin Jefferson should never have a season like the one we saw last year. He is one of the, if not the best receivers in football, and he was really limited by quarterback play. To put it in perspective, throwing to Justin Jefferson, J.J. McCarthy had an off-target rate of 28%. That is about twice what Sam Darnold's off-target rate was throwing to Jefferson, and the same with Kirk Cousins. It was mostly not his fault, and frankly, you could see him get frustrated as the season went on. So if Kyler Murray brings even average quarterback play, which I think he is capable of, whether or not that ceiling looks more like it did in 2020, has to do with a variety of factors, including his deep ball coming back. To me, that's a massive upgrade, and it's so important for this group of talented wide receivers to play with a competent quarterback.
Molly, you said if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. If you have J.J. McCarthy, you also have no quarterbacks, because last year there was just an inability for him to hit the layups to Kevin O'Connell's schemes. And there's very few people who create more layups than Kevin O'Connell. Last year, J.J. McCarthy held the ball almost historically long. No player on record has taken longer than 2.5 seconds more often to throw than J.J. McCarthy last year. Kyler Murray will not do that. In fact, last year was the quickest release of his career. He's getting better at the short stuff, getting better at the quick stuff. So that's all he needs to do in this offense. I just think you pair that with a defense that was still 7th in the NFL last year. Pair that with Justin Jefferson and a skill group that is going to be there just like it was 2 years ago. I just feel like this can be a real deal NFC contender, and I feel like we kind of glossed over what average quarterback play can look like in this offense. Mina mentioned it. If Kyler Murray's average, and I think he'll be above average, and he can use his legs to expand this team, really good things are going to happen, and that division got even tougher this year.
We need to temper our enthusiasm just a tiny bit with KOC saying, basically, if I have competent quarterback play, we're going to win 13 or 14 games. Something else happened those years. They were incredibly effective in one-score games. They were 20-2 in games decided by 8 points or less in those 2 seasons. In KOC's other 2 seasons, they were 11-12. And yes, of course, having a good quarterback can help you win some of those close games or avoid them altogether by winning in a dominant fashion. But show me Tom Brady, show me Patrick Mahomes, any quarterback in the history of football, you're not winning 20 out of your 22 one-score games consistently. So I understand last year we came into the year basically thinking you could put me in a quarterback and win 11-12 games in this offense. It is going to take something more, and they are going to have to be more consistent in avoiding those one-score games. You can't count on winning so many of them, even if you have these quarterbacks.
Yeah, it seems like it's Kyler Murray's job to lose, but to your point, Bill, Kyler Murray not fared well in one-score games, 19-28-1 in his 7-year career. So something's got to change there. Now there are no questions at quarterback in Baltimore, but the Ravens will showcase a new-look offense under an all-new coaching staff. First-year OC Declan Doyle will try to get the best out of his veteran Lamar Jackson, and his teammate safety Kyle Hamilton joined the show yesterday and complimented Jackson's off-season work ethic.
Yeah, I think the best thing about Lamar, or one of the best things about Lamar, is he's going to have the same in March and April as he will in January, February, and he does a great job of kind of separating the fun from the work, and he keeps it as light as possible, but at the same time he does a great job just locking back in and making sure everybody else is locked in and preaches that to us.
So we know Lamar's a constant in Baltimore, but elsewhere the Ravens made significant changes this offseason, including a revamp of the offensive line. The big addition came on defense, though, in Trey Hendrickson and the return of veteran Calais Campbell. So, Kevin, how do you think this pairing of Lamar Jackson and his new offensive coordinator will go?
I love it. And Bill, you mentioned that people thought that you could play quarterback for the Vikings last year. No one thinks that about the Ravens. Bill Barnwell will be a bad quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, and the reason is because this offense needs Lamar to go. Last year, you saw it. If you look at his tracking numbers that the NFL puts out, he wasn't doing not nearly as many design runs after his injury last year, and he was moving more slowly last year. So there's a couple of things to worry about, but I think this Declan Doyle offense is going to go with explosive plays, explosive schemes, spread the defense out more, give Lamar a little more room to cook, 3-4 wide receivers. I'm intrigued to see it. I think this works. I think that Mike McDonald in Seattle is a really good guidepost for some of these franchises that tried to get a fresh voice in the room, right? You fire Pete Carroll, you bring in Mike McDonald. In Baltimore, you fire John Harbaugh, you bring in Jesse Minter. In Buffalo, you fire Sean McDermott, a very successful coach, and you bring in Joe Brady. So I think that there's a proven concept here in year one. Hit the ground running. I think they do. I think this offense looks great.
Lamar Jackson's body of work alone, I think, can give us optimism for him bouncing back, because last year was a down season by his standards. And it was a weird one, right? Because some of the ways in which he struggled were things that he has not struggled at over the course of his specific career, specifically the number of sacks he took. I always look at quarterbacks' pressure to sack rate, which is how often they're getting sacked when they're pressured. And Lamar Jackson was 31st in the NFL amongst quarterbacks last season. Now, that is not normal for him. He was 4th in that metric last year. Prior to that, in his career, he ranked 11th. So I think, going forward, he's obviously got to cut down on the sacks, but I also think it's more likely than not that had a lot to do with his injuries, and also explains perhaps why he was rushing less. So if he can eliminate those negative plays and either escape more easily or recognize maybe that he's not as capable as he used to be, that to me alone will go a long way towards getting this offense back on track.
Yeah, if he can stay healthy and elevate his play, Lamar obviously a very important part of the success for the Ravens every single year. But Bill, give us another player that you think will have a major impact on how well they play this year.
Someone who does not get enough attention is Nnamdi Madubuike, the excellent defensive tackle who they really missed last season when he went down with a neck injury. And the numbers with him on and off the field are stark. Over the last 3 seasons, they are 3rd in the NFL in pressure rate with Madubuike on the field. They are 31st without their star defensive tackle on the field. Jesse Minter had a lot of pieces in Los Angeles, but the one thing he didn't have was that penetrating, 3-technique defensive tackle. The guy who can really blow up plays before they even start by winning immediately. If the Ravens have that player, along with the pieces they've added on the edge, notably Trey Hendrickson, that is a fundamentally different defense, and it opens up so much of what you can do elsewhere in coverage, whether you want to blitz less, whether you want to put Kyle Hamilton deeper. Lots of things you can do if you can win with your front four. So Madubuike's presence coming off of a neck injury is essential for this Ravens team to be more consistent on the defensive side of the football.
Bill, it's wild. Madubuike underwent neck surgery just this past April, and he's expected to return for the 2026 season. He played a career-low 2 games last year. They're definitely better with him on the field. Now new on NFL Live from Adam Schefter, former Lions cornerback Kerryon Arnold.